All right, here we are with part 4, the finale of the crossover. I'm gonna start off and say a couple of things before we get into it. I really enjoyed the action out of every part.
Yes, every part was full of good fight scenes.
I enjoy all the feelings that they showed in each episode. Unlike the crossover last time where someone were more action heavy, where others were more feelings heavy, I thought they did a really good job of interjecting a lot of emotion, a lot of comedy, a lot of action. It was the whole gambit. Like, they didn't leave anything out, I felt, in this crossover. So, I mean, what can you say about this episode but just a big, huge why?
Yeah, it's
everything comes to a head. And to be honest with you, this crossover, unlike the Dominators, for me, this crossover, you know that they're going to come out of it because this wasn't the finale. And they're the heroes, so they always, in some way, fashion, or form, come out of it. But you didn't know they were going to come out of it because it's like, okay, they're getting ready to cut Kara open. All right. Exactly. Victor Garber, a.k.a. Martin Stein's bleeding on the ground.
Yeah, and right now, at this point, he's in critical condition.
Yes. They're over here on a whole nother Earth. Iris and Felicity, who aren't superheroes, are out here rolling around in Star Labs trying to hold things down, but obviously they're not superheroes. Okay? And, you know, Overgirl's acting is better than when she acts as Supergirl. So there's so many things that just have you like, what's going to happen?
But I will say I do appreciate when Jax and Martin merges for the pretty much what will be the last time.
Yeah.
I thought that was powerful because he went in that moment to the extreme. Yeah. That was an anime joke. Anyway, he definitely went to whatever extent he could to save his life in that moment because their connection is just so freaking deep. We'll get into the funeral later on, but the connection between the two of them is just so deep that most people do not understand. And when they merged and just, oh my goodness, that was a powerful moment for me then. Like, words cannot describe.
And basically, if it were not for Jax and Stein and what they did, they would have never been able to leave Earth X anyway, because they were able to get the breach open. That's true. They get back to the Rave Rider, because now the last episode obviously is going to be on Legends of Tomorrow. Gideon is trying to patch Stein up, but it's to no avail, and they're just trying to hold off from telling Jax that, you know, basically it's a no-go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get this part over with, because I feel like I just want to get the sadness out the way. Basically, they determined that there's nothing that they can do to save him. He's going to die. And ultimately, because they have the connection, that means Jax is going to die too. What we failed to mention is earlier in the episodes, I can't believe it was episode 1 or 2. It's on 1. Cisco creates a formula that could actually separate them, because we know on Legends Tomorrow they've been trying to separate.
That's what they've been doing, yeah.
So Martin makes the decision to sacrifice himself, and he's just basically like, Jax, hand me the formula. I've lived my life. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much do you, boo-boo. And
I wish you would have said that.
Do you, boo-boo?
Yes.
And that's basically it. I'm actually saddened by it because they have grown to become my 2 favorite characters. I love that dynamic between them. All right, so for me, I feel like Jax and Stein's character, the dynamic between them is some of the most fleshed out. And I think they've grown the most from seasons 1 till now. Don't get it twisted. I feel that Sarah has grown. I think they've finally done a lot with Ray's character. I was shocked in episode 3 when he not only was small, but he also expanded. What's that in this
when
episode?
He enlarged his hand? That was in this episode, of course, because, you know, 4 is Legends.
Yeah.
So,
I thought it might have been in 3 because...
Really? I thought he was about to cut into Supergirl, and that's when he...
And so them doing that, and I think, you know, the episode with him and the Dominator earlier was a very good episode for Ray. But, because, you know, I've always had a problem with the fact of him being so smart, but it's like all of a sudden because of Nate, they like made him almost like a jock character. Which I don't have a problem with jocks, but it's just the fact that that's like they so didn't really focus on his from where he was in Arrow when he was like the geeky boyfriend and just like super intelligent and everything. Basically, like what Curtis is now is exactly the same thing that Ray was in season 3 of Arrow. So yeah. I think that for me, the character development has really come a long way. And so I'm definitely, genuinely going to miss those 2 characters. And wherever they decide to go with those characters in the future. But, long story short, he dies. And you basically see how everybody deals with it. Some characters, obviously, aren't going to be as affected as others because they haven't dealt with him as much as other characters have. I like the fact that they show exactly because Zari really didn't, so she's just kind of there because she's on the, you know, like they can drop her off at the next time, place, all I care. But anyways, they're not there. I like how they did the connection between Caitlin and Stein because that's pretty much like her last stronghold to Ronnie. Yeah. When you think about it. So I thought that was nice. I loved how they had Ray and they showed the depth of concern and how he felt about him because that was like a mentor for him. Like they kind of shied away from that, but like he really geeked out when he first met him, being that, you know, Professor Stein was such like a great professor or whatever. Exactly. And everything. And even the way Barry and Iris felt about it just because at the end of the day.
That's where he came from.
Yeah, he was on the Flash first. And then, you know, rescuing him as far back as season, I think that was the last half of season 1 from General Eiling and all of that kind of stuff. So they, you know, them fighting at the end of season 1 where the wormhole opened up and all of that. So finding Jax for Stein because he was becoming unstable. So much has transpired. So I like the way they did that.
And I was going to say, I think I have an answer now for why they did it like that, but that's probably going to be in one of our other videos. So, okay.
Yeah. And I will say, in addition to that, that it actually now makes sense that they did it in the crossover because at no other point would you be able to see his effect on all of those characters' faces. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh,
thank you. But I just thought about it. I was like, you know what? This would be the perfect place for them to do it would be the crossover. Because other than that, you know, him just saying, oh, I'm going to be a grandfather now and, you know, retire pretty much. It would just only affect the people there. But he came from another show. So for him to leave and for everyone to be really involved, what other time would there be? So,
and I like how they didn't show any Arrow characters and how they felt about it, except for the fact that Sarah and Ray were on there because now they're with him on Legends, so they didn't really need to show them because they don't really have that much of a tie to him. No. So I thought that was really handled gracefully. But I am sad again that the character's leaving. But that was not the only thing that happened in the show. Now, the remaining parts, now everything's coming to a head. We've got the big group fight. There's like 16 heroes right now. Yes, going against them. Everybody's there, okay? It goes down. I think they did a wonderful job of showing everybody fight. I love the fighting between... For Martin. Pretty much. It was like a war cry. We're doing this for Martin. We about to handle this real quick. We came here to drink beer and whip butt, and we all out of beer. Okay? And so, basically, the fighting does happen. I love the fight between the Flash and Reverse Flash and how they pretty much, because we know this, Reverse Flash is one of his top villains. So, Barry's not going to do anything to him because there's that angst that needs to happen. We do see the funeral for Martin. It is very sad. Jax goes to visit his wife and his daughter. He breaks down there, and I must say that was all 3 of those actors brought it for that scene. Like, you really believe that he actually died in real life. You could see the angst and the emotion.
Speaking about emotion between people, and yes, that was a sad, but on a lighter note, the connection I felt between Power Girl and Dark Arrow.
Also known as
Overgirl. Crap, you guys. Power Girl needs to show up. Show up and show out, but I guess with a different actress. But anyway, however, with that being said, yes, Overgirl and Dark Arrow, I do want to say before we put this to a close, being that they are, because I don't know if we touched on this really, but their husband and wife over in on Earth X, their emotion to each other. Because I thought about the part when he saw with the explosion and he saw she was like, oh my goodness. He fell to his knees on that. Like
his behind off as he did as Dark Arrow from episode 1. Yeah. Like, I think he did better as Dark Arrow than he's ever done as being, for lack of a better term, Doc Ollie from, like, you know, when
the show first started season.
When he just killed dudes.
Yeah. Vigilante.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
Because throughout.
Their acting was so good that if someone were to tell me in real life they were married, I would believe it. Like, they brought it for those roles. Like, you felt like that was her boo, and you felt that was his boo. Like,
and it's sad because I didn't feel that way with Kara and Monel. No. I definitely don't feel that way with Oliver and Felicity
Kara
now.
And James.
Like, but that goes back to when you have that right person. Mm-hmm. Because I think she more or less met his emotion. Like, she wants to give that love to Monel so bad, but it's not really being reciprocated in that way. You know, he loves on some extent, it's not in that way. Yeah. The same with Oliver, I feel. Even with Felicity, no matter how much she says she, you know, there's a difference between like and there's a difference between like love and then being in love with someone. Yeah. And the two of them together was just like, oh my goodness. Even when something happened, I think in in part 3, she was like, "You're gonna defy your general," or something like that.
Yeah.
No, what is the term she used? Farrah. Yeah. The way she said it, she put him in check, and Ebon Thur, and you could tell the look of Dark Arrow's face. Like, you heard my woman say.
Yeah,
you know,
this is the Reverse Flash who gives no.
Okay? Yeah,
and he was just like, maybe I'll step back. Like, she. And I was like, you better do what she says.
And this is on her deathbed, okay? And her talking to the man will say for life.
Yeah, pretty much. So, again, the acting on this crossover was some of the best by 98% of the characters, 2% being Felicity. That I've, even Joe's, going back to his speech that he gave to Barry and Iris and to Wally was magnificent. Okay? Like, people brought it. I don't know if people told them, you better show up and show out because this is the 4-part crossover, or if, like, jobs were on the line, but people did not come to play.
Yeah, it made me wonder if they said, look, some of you guys' views aren't as good as they should be, so you have to let everybody know in this crossover what you're capable of.
Noted and received and action taken. Yes. That's how it went down. And you know what? On that note, I want to talk about something else too that happened. Okay, we talked about how Alex and Sarah slept together or whatever. And now that everything has come to an end, we've had the funeral, we've had the fight, then we've had the funeral, and now we're all like, all right, guys, woo, peace, kumbaya. Alex is all like, I need to get back to Maggie. Yes. And I like what they did with Sarah's character, where Sarah was like, because earlier they talked about them each having that partner that for whatever reason it didn't work out with, and they had to move on. And I like the fact that she said, you know what? Now, whether Alex actually takes this to heart later on in the season, I don't know. But I like the fact that she said to her, you made that choice for a reason, so trust your choice and pretty much leave that where it is. And I like the fact that they did that because, even though this happens in real life, but a lot of times people have a tendency of takey's backs. You know what I'm saying? You
takes backs.
I'm saying you left that person for a reason.
Yeah. And it's a huge reason. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's big.
Exactly. The reason why they broke up is huge. And I know for the sake of this being a TV show and they want them to be together, all of a sudden now she's probably going to want kids. But people who don't want kids in general don't really change. They might, maybe as they get older, but in general, how people feel about certain things, certain subjects that really are entrenched in them, they don't just up and change. I know we live in a world where like, oh, people can change, and they can change with some things, yes, but certain things they can't change.
And she was adamant. She wasn't that, I'm undecided, or I don't want kids, but now that I'm with you and I'm in love with you, maybe I'll give it some thought. She was just like, no, you need to change.
Pretty much.
I don't want kids, and you need to not want kids either. We're going to be okay. And
she's pretty much how Felicity is on most conversation that she has with Oliver, except because she says it in a joking way, like people be like, "Oh, she's so nice," and I'm sitting here like with the whole thing with her and Curtis last week.
Yes, I know you didn't like that. You keep bringing it up.
I'm sorry,
but however, yes, we know she was serious. Okay. She was not joking.
I've been chastised, so I will move on.
And then she went back and did the exact same thing that she chastised him for, which is confusing, very confusing to me.
So when things like that happen, that's not something that you need to keep pressing on with. Exactly. And I appreciate Sarah's character for saying that to her, whether she listens or not. So, public service announcement. We're now going to talk about the ending of this episode.
And who you shouldn't invite to your wedding.
Yes, ever. And I'm going to say that, So, Barry and Iris decide that after everything that happened, we're just going to go to the Justice of the Peace. So, Stink Felicity is all like, Diggle can marry you because he's ordained. So, Barry goes and picks up Diggle because we know he's recuperating from the things that happened last week.
So, we see Diggle. We get some Diggle action in there. And his shirt,
dark
which was
chocolate,
fitting nicely.
Yes, it was. Well... And so now he's about to pronounce them man and wife with Felicity and Oliver as witnesses / best man and maid of honor
/ interruptees.
Felicity interjects and is like, oh, excuse me, I know they're having a deep moment, but I need to take this over and make it about myself yet again. So she then now decides that she wants to marry Oliver, and not tomorrow, not later on, not after they get married, but in this very second, we need to actually just segue and take over, push our way through, bulldoze right on in. Don't even do this with no reservations. Just slide on through on their wedding. So that's in fact what they do. Then they take over the vows. They just do they just do it all.
Yeah.
And Iris is standing there looking, and Barry's standing there looking, and I'm trying to figure out if Iris want to go ahead and step in, because I'm getting ready to step in for her. And
then they technically married them first, because I'm sorry they said their names first. That stood out to me too. I'm sitting there like.
So they're like literally articles saying that two people that you should never invite to your wedding would be Oliver and Felicity, because they so made that moment about them unapologetically.
And it was a rude thing to do, and it was rude the way it was done.
Yes.
I mean, he was
they were in the midst of actually concluding it out.
Yeah, he was talking, and now
like,
I pronounce.
Excuse me.
Yeah, like...
No, I'm sorry. I don't think she made even say that. She's like, oh, wait, hold on. I have things to say.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a silent moment where she could interject that smoothly. And it was like, okay, she did a rude thing, but at least it was done somewhat tactfully. Yeah. No,
like,
it was
you're here to be a witness,
well.
Which really means that unless asked, your mouth shouldn't even be open right now. Though.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Exactly.
So, anywho, so we end off with both of them now being married. We see what happens. I'm hoping maybe some type of accident will happen to her character going forward, because I really just like the lack of respect that she has for people. It kind of bothers me the way they write that character. I'm not going to even lie. I will say that at the end of the day, I know this is one of the longest reviews we've ever had. But I wanted to just go ahead and say that hands down, if you have not watched Arrow, or if you stopped watching Arrow because of the things that happened in season 3 and season 4, go ahead and pick it back up because they really did improve on it. I think you will like a lot of the new characters. If you stop watching Legend, or you never watched Legend, go back to season 1, pick that up, because where they've taken the show, it's really good as far as I am concerned. And if you like a show that can give you action and make you laugh, and laughs that pay off, not just inserting comedy, because I don't like when you just insert it for just to laugh. Yeah. I want it to actually have some type of basis to it. Then I think you will definitely enjoy Legends Tomorrow. Most people watch The Flash. I don't think we'll talk about that. Supergirl is at your leisure. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Ultimately, this was a great crossover. I'm definitely excited to bring you guys a video on what we think for predictions for upcoming crossover for next year.
So stay tuned to that.
Yes. It's going to be difficult because there are some good storylines that I think that they can do. But at the same time, this storyline was done so good that, you probably could just repeat this again. Like, hey guys, you remember what happened last year? We're just going to do a rerun of that. And I'll be like, ooh, yeah, turn it in.
Well, do you think it will get that's probably prediction, so I won't say that. But yeah. Okay.
Okay, so with that being said, we want to make sure that you guys will leave us your thoughts below. And now we're going to get into the question of the video. Question of the video is, well, actually, there are going to be several questions to the video. The first one is going to be, did you enjoy the crossover? The second question of the video is going to be, which part of the crossover did you enjoy the most? Which part of the crossover did you enjoy the least amount is going to be the third question. The fourth question is, if you are a comic book fan and you can choose what the next crossover would be, what crossover would you choose?
And I have a quick final question. What would you do if someone did that in your moment, interrupt your wedding to get married and didn't tell you about it?
Ooh, so that's messy question of the video. All right, so yeah, make sure if you're listening and you've made it all the way through that you make sure to leave those questions below. Now, again, we want to remind you guys of the videos that you can look forward to, and then we're going to get out of here. So, we are going to definitely bring you guys a prediction video. We're going to bring you guys a prediction video for the crossover, and we're going to bring you guys a video that is going to be about our thoughts on things that happened in this episode that were maybe just little nuggets. Okay? So, like and share the video, and as always, you guys, stay geeky.